This is an Audi R8, and to some it's nothing more than the ugly fraternal twin of the much sexier Lamborghini Gallardo, but to others it's much more than that. I can tell you that for me, it was the car I spent countless hours trying to beat in Need for Speed Carbon. It was the car I looked forward to in every release of an Iron Man movie, and it was the car that showed me, and probably the rest of the world, that Audi can make a proper supercar. In its heyday, the R8 was the car to have, but as with any supercar, it was very expensive. Fast forward to today, however, and the prices have become much more reasonable, but the real question is, should you consider buying one? In an attempt to answer that question, I'll cover a little bit about the design, then we'll go over the cost of maintenance, some common repairs, insurance, the market in general around this car, and then we'll finish with some final thoughts after taking it for a first impressions test drive. But before we do all of that, let me cover the brochure bits. Now, this car was originally offered for sale in the US in 2008, and back then it came only with a 4.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. Now, thanks to the 420 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque that V8 produced, 0 to 60 was done with in just 4.4 seconds. With a manual and a proper driver, 0 to 60 could be done with in just 4 seconds. Now, top speed was 187 miles per hour, and from what I've read and all the videos that I've seen over the years, it seems like this car can manage that performance in comfort and is relatively easy to drive. Comfortable as it may be, this is no GT car. The R8 was designed to be a proper supercar from the start, pulling from the experience of the brand that gave us the legendary Audi Quattro. The name was derived from the 1999 Audi R8 LMP, a racing car that won at Le Mans not once, but 5 times. As you would expect, much of the design was thus centered around performance. The all-wheel drive system, for example, was designed to never allow more than 30% bias to the front axle to give the car more of a rear-wheel drive feel. It features a dry sump system for better oil management and a lower center of gravity. While it all comes down to preference, I think it is fair to say the exterior has aged well, almost as if though it was designed to look good in any era. It sported all functional vents, active aerodynamics, the iconic side blade here in carbon fiber, and of course the much appreciated viewing gallery of that beautiful 4.2-liter V8. With the R8, Audi debuted MagRide, a suspension setup that allowed adjustable dampening at the push of a button, and for pure flair, the manual was gated. The R8 doesn't overwhelm you. It's an oddly simple collection of blades, fins, and smooth rounded panels that don't demand attention yet somehow always get it. All of that is great, but what about the cost of ownership? Well, to find out, I called some local dealerships to get an understanding of the maintenance schedule, maintenance cost, and some common repair costs associated with the V8 variant of the Audi R8. So I have some numbers for you here. The maintenance schedule is based on a 4-year cycle. So for your first year or 10,000 miles, you're going to want to do an oil change and a general inspection. I was able to get quotes from 3 different dealerships for the maintenance, and I took an average. For the first year, it's $830.40. For the second year, you're going to do an oil change, a cabin filter, and your brake fluid flush. That's going to run you an average of $1,998.63. Your third year or 30,000 miles is the same as your first year. So oil change and inspection, another $830.40. And your fourth year is considered your major service. You're going to have an oil change, cabin filter, engine air filter, spark plug replacement, and brake fluid flush. That will run you an average of $3,347.07. If you take all of that and you break it down over a 5-year span, break it down annually, you're going to have an annual maintenance cost, not including any repairs, of $1,567.38. Let's talk about common repairs. Doing some research over the forums, different videos, people that I know that own them, and asking around, I found a couple of things that I would be considering if I was looking for an R8, so I got some pricing. The first is probably a pretty big one. That's the MagRide suspension. I've been told by numerous people that it's not an if, it's a when they fail. I was able to get quotes from 2 different dealerships for an average replacement cost of all four corners of the car, $17,944.41. Now that is a lot of money, but I did find an alternative. There's a company called Nagengast who specializes in refurbishing this MagRide suspension for the Audi R8. And I was able to get a quote to replace all 4 corners at $7,400. So just over $10,000 less than just getting a full factory replacement from the dealer. Other things to consider, the AC compressor replacement. This is actually a surprisingly expensive repair, mostly because you have to do a full engine out to be able to do it. It's quoted with 2 quotes at an average cost of $10,082.76. Next on the list, there is some carbon that can build up on the intake valves, so that needs to be cleaned off using a process called walnut blasting. I was able to get a quote for that at $1,300. I was only able to get the 1 quote, not too bad. Coolant expansion tanks. The coolant expansion tank is basically 2 plastic pieces that have a seam, I think some kind of adhesive or glue that keeps it together, and over time that adhesive can fail. Now, I was quoted by 2 different dealerships with an average cost of $1,512.22. And the last one is kind of a tough one. So I'm actually gonna have to lean on the internet's expertise for this. So if you either know differently, have an R8, have experienced something different than what I'm about to say, please leave your knowledge in the comment section down below, because I was only able to get a quote from 1 dealership. And that dealership claims that due to the design of the R-tronic transmission, if you have to replace the clutch, you have to replace the entire transmission. And they quoted me at $53,000. Now again, I don't know how true that is. I don't know if you actually have to replace the entire transmission or not, but hopefully somebody in the comment section will be able to clear that up. As for the insurance, I got 3 different quotes with a $500 deductible, 3,000 miles per year, and as a leisurely vehicle, my average quote was $3,393.33 for the year, or around $282 a month. The market on the R8 is pretty typical of these kind of cars. According to data from Classic.com, the average selling price for a first-generation pre-facelift 4.2-liter V8 R8 Coupe, quite a mouthful, was $67,415. The lowest selling price was $26,002, quite a bargain, and the highest, $133,000. This data was collected over 122 sales over the last 5 years, and this range is expected, honestly. If you find a pristine, low-mileage museum piece with a one owner, you're looking more at the top of the range, but find yourself a moderately used one that's taken care of and you can have an R8 for the price of a brand new Audi Q7. Numbers done, let's take it out and see how this bedroom wall poster drives nearly 2 decades later. Okay, so here we are behind the wheel of the 4.2-liter V8 Audi R8. As far as power delivery, you really can't beat a naturally aspirated motor. It just feels so good. And one of the best things about this car, especially compared to the modern R8, is the physical gauges. I love physical gauges. When you're buying a car like this, and I've said this on the channel before about different cars, you have to tailor your expectations. Just because this is a supercar doesn't mean you can compare it to the performance and driving feel of modern cars. And you shouldn't, because honestly, performance-wise, it may be on par with some cars that are less expensive than this was originally, but in terms of driving feel, I would say that this is better. And the reason is because there's more feeling. Now I'm driving with the paddles right now, and it helps a lot with the sluggishness, for lack of a better word, that you get from the transmission. It's really not as bad as people say. It is there, make no mistake. It's not a double clutch gearbox. It's not immediate. It's not going to be like a modern day R8, modern day PDK system from Porsche. You're going to feel it. But is it going to ruin the experience? No, it's part of the experience. If you're buying an older supercar, you should expect that. Oh, and it does sound really quite good. And around the corners as well, despite this being a big lumbering supercar from Audi, it handles the corners really incredibly well. You can put the power down right out of the corner. The car gets planted. It is really quite good. And the cabin is nice as well. You might be distracted when you're sitting in traffic by how outdated everything is, but when you're actually driving, I'm not paying attention to any of it. This is a phenomenal car. For the money, this is a phenomenal performance car. If you're just looking for the experience of owning a supercar, driving a supercar, and having the confidence to actually drive it, I think the R8 is a great, great option. It's not intimidating. And with a lot of older supercars, especially from the era of this car, they are intimidating. Driving done, what are my final thoughts? The R8 is not without its faults. The transmission, for one, is a bit of a sticking point, but I can't harp on it too much because it is period correct. The key is one of those switchblade designs, which reminds me of a Volkswagen Jetta, and the infotainment has some silly bits, like the car menu that leads to nothing. The cost of ownership is on the higher end and can be concerning, but if you want the experience of owning a supercar, if you want something that will always look good and remind you of how good cars used to be to drive and used to sound, then I think the R8 is brilliant. At just around 3,600 pounds, it isn't light, but it does feel it like a big V8 go-kart, the kind of car I always want to drive. You may think all supercars are like that, but they aren't. Many of them are more of a hassle than the experience can make up for, but with the R8, it's just so easy to drive quickly. It's a very rewarding experience. You won't win many drag races or time attack sessions, but you will drive about in style and have the confidence that you have Tony Stark's car and the car that put Audi on the supercar map. That's all for this video. I want to say a huge thank you to Exotic Car Factory here in Tustin, California for loaning me their 2011 Audi R8, the 4.2. This is the perfect spec, honestly. If you're looking for the iconic R8 look, this is it. Silver over black interior with the carbon fiber side blade. It's such a good looking car. So I will leave all of the regular links in the description down below to their website, social media, and the posting for this exact car if it's still available and you're interested. Do reach out to them. And if you do reach out to them, ask for G. G's been very helpful in making this video possible, so much gratitude there. And I'm told that if you call them, let them know that CarCave sent you and they'll take care of you. So that's all very good. Otherwise, leave me a comment down below with your thoughts on the R8 and on my final thoughts. Do you agree or do you disagree? Use the comment section as your platform to share your final thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.